Hello, my name is Mike, and I develop a project called Drupal Quickstart. Today I want to do a screencast on how to do profiling and how to performance profile Drupal, or really any PHP app, using Quickstart, XDebug, and Webgrind. So let's do it. What is profiling? So profiling is a process that we can use to make choices on how to best improve performance of an application. So a profiler is a piece of software that records each function that's called and how much time it was used, or how much time was used in that function. And a second piece of software we can use is called a profile viewer, and that allows humans to really visualize what's going on in the source code so that we can make choices on what to improve. So maybe that's rewriting a function, or including caching, or changing our approach to something, or buying bigger hardware, or whatever we're going to do. Profiling lets us really see what's going to have the most impact. So for PHP, XDebug includes an excellent profiler, and Webgrind is a popular web-based, very thin profile viewer. So Quickstart, Drupal Quickstart, comes with these two tools already installed and configured, and I'm going to show you how to use them to profile. All right, so what are we going to do here? Step one, we're going to get a profile file. Now there's two techniques or two methods we can use to do this. The first is for GET requests. We can just add this little string to the end of a URL, and that's going to tell XDebug to write a profile for us. Now, not all page requests are posts or are gets. Some of them are post requests. And to profile a post request, the easiest way I've found to do that is to create a cookie called XDebug_profile. And I'll show you how to do that, because that's also going to tell XDebug to build a profile for us. So XDebug saves the profiles, or it's configured to save profiles in this folder, the websites, logs, profiler folder. And once we've saved our profiles there, they're just big 2 megabyte text files. And once we've saved them there, we're going to use some software to help us visualize that. And now there's two methods that we can use for that. The first is Webgrind, and that comes with Drupal Quickstart, and we get to it with this URL. The second, and I'm just going to briefly show this because I've been running out of time when I record this screencast. The second one is I'm going to show you KCacheGrind, and that's something you can download and install. And we'll talk more about that in a bit. So enough talking about it, let's do it. All right, so I'm going to open up Quickstart here, and the first thing I'm going to show you is where the profiles are going to get stored. So the profiles get saved into the websites, logs, profiler directory. So they're going to get saved here. This directory here, this is the source code or the PHP code for the Webgrind application. So let's do it. Let's build a profile. All right, so to make a profile, we're going to open up Firefox, and I'm going to go to example.dev. This is a website that's running on the Quickstart local host, so it's running inside the virtual machine. And I'm going to go to the administration page, and let's look at themes page. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes in this page. It's actually a pretty amazing amount of functionality. And let's profile it. So here we go. The simplest thing that could possibly work is to add to the end of this URL $XDebug_profile and set that equal to true. So when we hit enter, Firefox is making a GET request out to Apache. Apache talks to PHP and XDebug, and you're not going to see anything on this page that shows a profile was made, but XDebug did make a profile and put it into our profiler folder. So here it is. The 1667 was the process ID of the Apache process that made it. If you're at all interested, that's what that means. All right, so let's open this up in a text editor. You can see it's about 2 megabytes. And if we scan down this, you can see here's the file format version, Here's the command that was profiled, and boom, here we are. So we're looking at what functions were called and how much time they took. So as we go down through the page request, we'll see that we start off with a whole bunch of defines, and then we get down here, we set some error reporting, then we include bootstrap.inc, and we just kind of keep going. If you scroll down this, my brain can't even comprehend scrolling down this, much less trying to visualize it. So let's use Webgrind to help us visualize it. So here we go. If we open a new tab and we go to localhost/profiler, here's Webgrind. So there's a lot going on in this UI, and I just don't have time in the screencast, in the single screencast, to talk about everything. So I'm just going to run you through the basics. So this drop down here is all the profile files. I generally prefer to look at the data in milliseconds, and if we look at 100% of the data, it's a little more useful. I don't turn on hide PHP functions because I prefer to see what PHP functions are called. You know, if we're spending a lot of time in an internal PHP function, sometimes the best thing to do is to just change our approach or use a different PHP function. Anyways, I think it's really useful to see, you know, where all the time went. So I clicked update, and now Webgrind is out, ran through that 2 megabytes, and created this little visualization for us. So what do we got going on here? Well, one thing that sticks out is this little bar chart here. So in this bar chart, what we're looking at is kind of the mix of what functions were called. So the blue bit is internal PHP functions, and the orange bit are Drupal's procedural functions. There's a couple other bits in here. There's a green bit for object-oriented calls, and then there's a lavender bit for includes and requires. PHP or Drupal is a procedural application, so that's why this is all orange. Now you can see here that we called 453 different functions, and it took 1,047 milliseconds, so about a second to make the page request. Now if we scroll down a wee, we get here's kind of the meat of the data. Now from left to right here, you can see these orange dots are color-coded the same as this little bar chart here. The second column, it's the function name. This little guy here will open up the file for us. So if we Control F, we can find file scan directory. So here's the code. So when we want to look at the source code, it's easily available. This invocation count was how many times the function was called during the page request. So we called this file scan directory 122 times. Total self cost is how much time we spent executing just that function's code. Now when you compare that with total inclusive cost, that's how much time we spent executing that function's code and all of the code it called as well. Now this particular function, file scan directory, is useful to look at because it's recursive. So we can see that of the 122 calls that were made, 116 of them were recursive calls. So if we look at this function, you can see that it's called recursively. Now that's going to skew this total inclusive cost number here. And that's just important to notice as you kind of move through this. If we sort by total inclusive cost, you'll see here that this main function, now this main function is basically everything that's happening in index.php from start to finish. And if you're wondering why, and it took 1,047 milliseconds to run, and if you're wondering why some functions take more than that, it's having to do with the recursion. So even though this theme function really only took 19 milliseconds in the total self cost, it called and included a whole bunch of other functions. So this is why this is happening. So if we look at the main function, this could be kind of useful for us to look at. You can see all the different functions that were called and how much time was spent in each of them. There's a lot more to this, and like I said, I don't really have time to show it all. I'd love to, but those are the breaks. If you're interested in more of this, look up just kind of general profiling out on the web. There's a couple of really great tutorials that I saw out there, and there's a lot more to do. So to continue what we're doing here in this screencast, let's go back and let's make another profile. So what we got here, we can't always use the URL bar to build the profiles for us. If we want to work with this form and we want to see what happens when we click Save Configuration, this form has its own URL encoded into it, and so it's going to ignore what happens here in the bar here. So what I have to offer you for profiling using post requests or for form posts is to use a cookie. Now if we look at the cookie information for this page, you can see that there are two cookies here. One's the session cookie, and the other is a cookie that I think lets Drupal know that JavaScript's enabled. What we can do is we can set a new cookie, and that new cookie is an XDebug profile cookie. If we set that value to true, and we set the path to the root path, and we make a session cookie, I just canceled it. Let's do it again. Add cookie XDebug profile, set it to true, path to root, session cookie, and okay. So now, if we make this page request, and then we go back out to our profiler, we'll see there's a new profile. So it's this 2865. Now I'm going to delete this one just to make things a little easier. But this new profile is a profile of just this form request that I just did. So Webgrind has a whole lot of functionality in it, and it's really amazing for how lightweight it is. If you're looking for something more, if you're doing some harder core profiling, there's another tool out there that I can recommend, and it's called Grind. Now, here's the command that you run to install Grind: sudo apt-get install Grind. This is going to go out and download about 280 megabytes of stuff, and when it comes fully installed, it's going to be about 380 megabytes of stuff. Now, that's not all Grind. That's all the other tools in the KDE development environment, but that's really kind of useful to know, and that's the reason I didn't include it in Quickstart, because it was so big. So if we go to this profile and we open with Grind, I can just kind of quickly show you the interface. So it's going to look a little similar. So here's main, and here's the percentage of how much time it took. Here's the source code, and this time the source code's annotated, so you can see that the bootstrap took 36% of the call, and print theme took 44% of the call. So, you know, this is another way of looking at it. There's also the, this is kind of interesting, this is the call map. So here's a kind of a data visualization. You can wander around this and look at stuff. There's caller maps and call graphs, so there's all kinds of stuff going on in this. I hardly recommend it if you're going to do some serious profiling. Take a look at the handbook if you want to learn more, and there's also, I'm sure, tutorials out there on how to use it. So I hope you've enjoyed this screencast, or I hope you've gotten something out of it. We have run out of time, and I guess the last thing I want to say is I hope you get something out of Drupal Quickstart. Thanks for using it. If you have any comments or things you want to say, post it up on the web. And thanks for whatever you do for open source. Cheers.